Okay.
The meeting's now recording. Councillor Rome, over to you.
Evening, everybody. Thank you for attending. I think you've all got a copy of the agenda. And I think the first thing on the agenda is that we have to record any declarations. Oh, sorry, receive any apologies.
I haven't received any this evening, and I think we've got full committee actually in attendance. Yeah, we've got full committee here tonight.
Okay, jolly good. And next, declarations of interest from members for any item on the agenda. That sounds like nothing. And next, we have public participation. Questions to be taken from members of the public in line with the council's public participation policy. And I would like to suggest, as the main item on this agenda, the first one has been discussed many, many times, that we just allow the standard 15 minutes for questions this evening. If anyone would like to second that.
That was Councillor Geddes.
Okay, and we come on to the first planning application to be considered, and that's the head teacher, Hetton Primary School, Morsley Road, demolition of existing caretaker's house primary school, the erection of new school with multi-games area, including improved site access. Oh, sorry. Any questions before we start? Sorry, I jumped ahead there.
Yeah.
Back to point 3. Any member of the public which wish to ask any questions? Take that as a no. Okay. So on to the first planning application, the demolition of the caretaker's house and the primary school, the erection of a new school with multi-games area, including improved site access and associated car parking and landscaping. I just thought it might be useful if everybody's okay with it. I can just give a little bit of background to this, of all the input we've had from the public over the last few weeks. Is that all right with everybody? Yes, Town Clerk.
Yeah, sorry, Chairman, just to make the committee aware that at your request, I had invited an officer from Sunderland City Council to come along to speak to this application this evening. I haven't had any response back from them though. I have checked my emails earlier today. I think I might have had an outage, but I've received no phone calls and there's been no messages left at all. Just to clarify that.
Yeah, well, I would have liked him to attend or her to attend, because I did have some questions, but as it didn't look like they were going on, I think I've tried to provide questions in this background, and any queries we'll have to go off to Sunderland as a query. I mean, I think everybody, the council, everybody in Hetton is behind a new primary school building for Hetton School, because you know, it'll improve its image and popularity, hopefully. One thing I will say is that most surrounding schools in this area has been pointed out by numerous members of the public have 30 pupils per class, and this particular school has only got 20 per class. And this new proposal, there's no significant increase in required places projected. Now, this proposal also includes a 55-place nursery school provision as part of the proposal, but I think most people, including the councillors, have agreed that there's more than sufficient nursery provision in the area at Hetton Lyons Nursery School and Hetton Lyons and Hetley Hole Nursery School, the latter being rated outstanding, but with the added benefit of it being very close to homes in the centre of town, with ample parking in Railway Street and no highway pedestrian safety or traffic congestion issues there. One thing that concerned me, which has just come to light recently on this proposed strategy of developing this new school, is that the health implications and the cost to the taxpayer before constructing the new school. I don't know if other councils are aware, but 2 demountable classrooms for under fives are going to be provided for possibly several years. And the existing building as it stands now is going to be reconfigured and to be joined onto these other demountable classrooms. Apparently, there's a significant amount of asbestos in the existing building. And so they're going to be working on the building and adding on these 2 demountable classrooms to make it workable before they start building the new school on the other site. Now, that's horrendously expensive, in my opinion. And I think if councillors can remember last year when we considered the planning application for these demountable classrooms and reconfiguration of the existing building, I wasn't, and I don't know if anybody else was made aware that a new school building with a nursery provision for 55 children and a proposal to close Hetton Hole Nursery was actually in the pipeline. As far as the building design is concerned, I have a couple of things I'd like to point out to people who haven't had the opportunity to read all the different documents. If you look at the plans, there's a proposed in-out system around for dropping off pupils and picking them up. But the proposal says that site access will be improved. Well, I've got experience of several schools in the area who've got this drive-in, drive-out system, but they've got their gates locked. Whether they've got the gates locked because of security or whether they've got the gates locked because of congestion, but the gates are locked. So whether or not the gates are locked at the new school, if it goes ahead, or they're not locked, there's still going to be terrible congestion in Maudsley Road. And I can still see, you know, the parking problems. If the gate is opened, because when you come out, there's no suggestion of a no right turn, then I can see the whole thing just clogging up. And really, I think some consideration may have been given to possibly having a no right turn coming out of there and just having a left turn, maybe putting a mini roundabout down at the junction with North Road. It's a possibility to be considered. The new primary school, if it didn't have a nursery school attached to it, it would need to have part of it on a first floor, which would reduce the cost of the almost £5 million cost of this. And by the way, the cost of the additional classrooms and reconfiguring the new school is not included in that £5 million cost of building the new school. That's all an additional cost to the taxpayer. Looking at the current design, looking at the corridor spaces, the lobbies, the entrances, everything, in the event that COVID social distancing and guidelines become a permanent feature of school life, I don't think the current design is adequate. And last but not least, I believe that the male and female toilets should be provided in separate areas for years 3 to 7, because I'm sure I wouldn't like any child of mine just turning 7 being in the same toilet block area with boys from year 7 who were 10, 11 years old. And they're my comments. So I'd just like to open the floor to any other councillors who would like to comment on that. I mean, I have got a proposal prepared, you know, with what I've said as the basis, but I'd like other people's input. Anybody like to say anything? Councillor Waterson?
I just would, Chair, I'd like to sort of clarify what the improved side access means. Do they give any?
Well, because
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what they've done, if you look at the site map, and what I can see is they've got like an in-out one-way system, which you drive into the in gate, drive around the site, drop off at the front door.
Sorry, Chair, that's what they're classing as an improved side access, is it?
Yes.
All right. That's answered my question, and
That's my understanding of it, anyhow, Councillor Waterston.
So that we're talking about the access coming off the Moseley Road.
Yes.
Right. So how is that? How is that supposed to improve access? It's absolute bedlam most days up there anyway.
I agree.
I can't see an in-out access is going to make any difference to the level of traffic that they have at the present time. Well, and they're going to be increasing that. So I think they need to put more things, implement more things than simply an in-out access for this. Yeah. Or else our situation up there is just going to get worse, basically.
Well, as I said, if you had a left turn coming out of the school grounds, and turning down towards North Road, had a mini roundabout there, whoever owns that nice little corner garden opposite the blacksmiths. I mean, there's room there for a mini roundabout, and that would work, and that might ease congestion. Yeah, but that's not going to happen, is it? That's not going to happen in the bigger scheme of things. So, I mean, as I say, they're saying that the new design will improve access, and I think, well, I don't think it will. And no, neither do I. Thank you, anyway. Thank you, Chair. Councillor Deputy. Then Councillor Horan.
Yeah, I think exactly what Councillor Watterson said. It's not going to alleviate any traffic, because people are going to say, "Oh, I've got a drop-off place. I can drive there anyway." So more people are going to bring the kids to drop them off. So it's not going to alleviate any traffic problems whatsoever. And like I say, and of course, unless you've got some help would be it's a no right turn when you come out. You have to turn left, so you have to go down to the junction, where there's this pedestrian crossing there, which is going to hold traffic up, people coming in from school. So I think the access is a major problem. Thank you, Councillor Deputy. Councillor Heron.
Thank you, Chairman. As far as the access is concerned, that would be down to the traffic engineers. But however, the drive-in, drive-out situation does work, as long as parents stick to that. Quite often the park outside to drop the children off and pick them up outside of the school. They should be driving in and out. The problem with every school in Sunderland and in the rest of the country is the amount of children coming out of school and getting into cars. That's why they're continually saying, walk the children to school. It's healthy, and it's probably safer doing it that way. However, as far as the toilets is concerned, I'm afraid as far as I'm aware, all new toilets for schools will be male-female toilets with their own cubicles. I'm of the same opinion as yourself, Chair. But that is the modern way of doing things, and I'm quite sure that the building regulations will come into force as Councillor will be able to tell you that they're always built to that particular standard and safety in mind. And I've been wanting this school in Hetton, never represented them. I've never represented them, but I've been wanting this school replaced for many years. There's another one just half a mile in the opposite direction from my house, and that one should have been replaced years ago as well. They're out of date, and I fully welcome this thing. We can sort the roads and the traffic out at some other time. If it should be sorted out with this planning application. Thanks, Chairman.
Yes, as I say, did you know any schools in the Hetton area that have the one-way system, Councillor Heron, that have their gates open?
Bernard Gilpin Primary School have. That during lockdown they closed. All the school gates is closed as far as I'm aware. But Bernard Gilpin have theirs open all of the time.
Does it work?
Yeah.
It
That's the one
works,
at
does it?
Hall Lane.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Thank you. Councillor Defty, you've got your hand up. Oh, sorry. Councillor Hopper next.
Hello, thank you, Chair. Just a couple of points very quickly. I'm very disappointed that more information wasn't given about the demountable classrooms last year so that we could actually see what the plan is. I think we're starting to see a plan emerging. Hopefully we're not too late. Before this development is grand, I'm 100% behind it. I agree with Councillor Aaron. We need this skill. Definitely need this skill. What we don't need is the nursery attached to it. And I am extremely disappointed. I'm happy to see the North Road is going to get traffic calming. Extremely disappointed to see that Moseley Road isn't going to get any. There's been no mention of it, and there's 3 planning applications that are outstanding up there. And if they all come to light, you're talking about 500, just short of 500 homes. So when we think about the amount of traffic coming down Moseley, when we think about the 2 bad accidents that's happened within 400 metres on the very junctions where these children are crossing, we don't need more traffic. So I'm 100% in favour, just like you. I agreed with what you were saying in your proposal, but I definitely 100% disagree with additional places for the nursery.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hopper. Councillor Defty, you're next, I think. No, your hand was up accidentally, was it? Okay. Well, anyone got anything else to say? If not, I'd like to propose that the council objects to this application in its current form on 5 grounds. The first one being that there's no requirement for a 55-place nursery provision in the area. Hello, I've got an echo somewhere. Can everybody hear me? Number 2, that highway pedestrian safety in Moseley Road is being severely compromised. And number 3, health and safety of nursery and primary children, teachers on site moving in between demountable and reconfigured classrooms over a number of years whilst an asbestos-ridden building is being demolished and a new building being constructed, being compromised. The building may not be COVID compliant. And lastly, unless everybody disagrees with me, I'm totally against the toilet provision for years 3 to 7.
Councillor Heron's got his hand up, Chair.
Councillor Heron.
Hello, Ms. Councillor Heron. Yes, you'd like to say something? You're on mute, Councillor Heron.
Still on mute, Councillor Heron.
That's it. You're not right.
Right, thank you. I would oppose everything that you've said, Chair. Apart from the highways does need to be really looked at in detail. The nursery is required simply because it brings the nursery back into being able to compete with the private sector that's operating, and it's thrown the nursery situation into disarray. They don't need a head teacher because they've got the head teacher with the primary school. The other items, the toilets, like I've said, that's coming through as national legislation. And I'm quite sure Councillor Defty will be able to enlighten you on that. And as far as the not having the nursery there, it's simply disadvantaging those younger children that's doing. Now, if they are putting classrooms up there, they are a short-term use. They do quite often become a long-term use. But at the same time, we're getting a bigger school, a bigger nursery, and a better facility entirely for the whole of the community, not just for Hetton, but for the whole community that needs education. And I would fully support that this application be accepted as it is, without any obligations. Thank you.
Can I just thank you. Can I just come back to Councillor Heron? This is not a bigger school. There are only going to be an additional, I think it's 70 places, and that's including 55 nursery school places. So it's actually only 15 additional places for the primary school. I'd just like to clarify that with you. And I think Councillor Defty is next, and then Councillor Hopper. Councillor Defty?
Unmute, just unmute. Yeah, obviously, if the separate toilets isn't in the planning, it'll get passed. It has to be added to the planning. If you want separate toilets, it has to be amended. It has to be amended. You cannot just put it through, get it passed, then later when it's getting built, say, oh, by the way, we've got no separate toilets. It has to go into the original plan.
Could I come back to you on that? I think, Councillor Deputy, that Councillor Heron was saying that's the standard way that all new schools are built. But I don't know that. And as I say, I personally, having experience of one relatively new school and a very old school, you know, from year 3 onwards, the girls' toilets are separated from the boys. So that's just nobody's disagreeing with the school to be built. Nobody. But I think the proposal asks questions, and up before it gets passed, if those questions can be answered, and we're all happy with those questions to be answered, there's no problem. But yes, there's nobody against the school being built.
I would agree with that, Councillor. But at the same time, it should go in with and accept the planning application with reservations about the toilets and the highway safety.
Well, could I just say then, you know, the point is that I'll come to you in a second, Councillor Hopper. If we're not sure about the toilet situation, surely it's far better to put the question in, as we haven't got a planner here to answer it, and then have them say, well, no, you're wrong, that is the way it has to be, or yes, you have got a point, and we will consider changing it. Councillor Hopper.
I agree with that.
Can't hear you, Councillor Hopper.
I know, I am putting my microphone on, thank you very much. So just the parking, the provision for the parking isn't enough for the pick up and drop off points. They're all trying to get in at the same time, and you know, from a health and safety perspective, an older child takes less time to drop off. A younger child takes time. You have to take them into the classroom. That means you park the car up, so it's not going to be a drop-off point. It's going to be a park point. Take them into the nursery and then bring them back out. You're talking about over 300 people trying to get into that. When it's fully occupied, 300 including staff. I think there's a provision for 55 car parking spaces at this pick-up and drop-off point, or I think it's something like that. Now, I also say maybe saying they lied to us when they applied for the application is too strong. It probably is. And I think either something was omitted or left out, and we didn't know what we were voting for last year. Now, I am against this nursery going there because I think there's a hidden agenda to get those houses up on the back of Cragdale, also up on the farm, and there's, as I say, nearly 500 houses. So that's why I don't want the provision of that nursery in there. I understand what Councillor Heron's saying about bringing it up to standard. We haven't had standard nursery already. The kids are settled. There's so many reasons why, but I would move to accept the proposal that Councillor Rome's put on the table. Town Clerk?
Councillor Geddes, you wish to say something?
Yes, please. I find it incredible that the goalposts get moved by our city officers. So what is it? Are there not enough children, or are there too many? You know, on one hand, they're saying, you know, there's not enough, you know, you can't keep Hetton nursery open because there's not enough. And on the other hand, we've now got people saying, you know, you need the provision. But secondly, I would like to say that I'm totally against demountable party cabins. They're noisy, they're not suitable, and I don't understand, I just don't understand why common sense can't prevail here and leave Hetton open for a specific time, and wouldn't it be common sense to move some of the kids up from Hetton Primary?
Excuse me, could everybody turn their sound off while Councillor Geddes is speaking, please? Thank you.
I just think it's crazy. You're pulling kids out of a perfectly excellent, outstanding nursery and moving them onto a building site. I just can't see the logic. Now, I know Alan Rowan said, you know, it's not financially
Councillor Geddes,
viable.
so you're agreeing with the first part of my objection that there's no requirement for a 55-place nursery provision?
I'm questioning it, certainly.
You're
Yeah.
agreeing with it, thank you.
Yes.
Right, so I would like to move that the Town Council objects this application. As I said earlier, on those 5 points, there's no requirement for a 55.
Town Clerk was wanting to say something.
Sorry, Town Clerk.
Yeah, Chairman, just to make you aware that there are some comments in the chat facility,
All right.
including some from members, one of whom is seeking some more information about health and safety aspects. Which may be pertinent.
Wait a minute, let me have a look. I can see, wait a minute. Can I expand on the health and safety? Well, yes, it's in, I think it's section 5 of the cabinet report that the building has, it basically is 5.1. It's been identified because of the age of the building, the prevalence of asbestos in the core structure and scope of the works have led to an alternative proposal to rebuild the school rather than improve the school. So if you're going to, you know, the fact that it must be detrimental to the health and safety of teachers and pupils if there's asbestos in the school that they're going to start pulling around while they're in attached classrooms. So that was that. Let me go through. Can I worked in toilets. Right. Somebody's saying, Mark Warren, that he worked in a new build school and toilets were separate. And then another member said the council approves of the building of a new primary school without the provision of the 55 nursery places, which is what I have proposed in the first point of my proposal. Councillor Geddes?
Yeah,
We've really need to move on after this.
Yeah, can I just make a couple of points? Because in 2006, our project, Sullen College's new 10 million college, and the toilets are set on that particular building. But also, you know, every school, every college should have an asbestos register. You know, and I don't think it's out of turn for asking our town clerk to get a copy of that and just to see how extensive the asbestos is, because it's usually below the windows, and they usually put plywood over the top of it, but you cannot drill into anything that's got asbestos there. Now, I know for a fact because I was involved in demolishing Usworth Comp for the new college. And it's a very, very costly exercise to get asbestos removed properly. But I think,
just say, Councillor Geddes, that the Sunderland Council openly admit in point 5.1 of their their executive summary sheet that the building does have asbestos.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
And we've got
Councillor
a
Hopper,
report-
and then I think we should move on to go forward with his objection if we're going to do so.
We've got we have actually got the report for the asbestos and where it's located in the building. But you know, time's getting on a bit. Can we move on and like sort of get this proposal seconded and then go to a vote?
Yeah.
Right, would you like me to read it out again, anyone? If I can find it now, it's all gone now. Oh, it's here. Shall I repeat it for the town clerk's benefit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. The objection will read: the town council objects to this application in its current form on the grounds that 1, there is no requirement for a 55-place nursery provision in the area. 2, highway pedestrian safety in Morsley Road being severely compromised. 3, health and safety of nursery and primary children and teachers on site moving in between demountable and reconfigured classrooms over what could be a number of years whilst an asbestos-ridden building is being demolished and a new building constructed being compromised. 4, being non-COVID compliant. Who knows what's going to happen with COVID in the future. And 5, unsuitable toilet provision for years 3 to 7.
Yep.
Councillor Geddes?
Can I just,
No, I don't. I'll second that.
Say,
that might be added to me.
that proposal forward. Have I got a second of that?
Yeah,
Councillor Defty.
Councillor Defty, I can't see you.
Okay.
Are you seconding that, Councillor Defty?
I am, yes, I second that.
Can we go for a vote on that?
I would like to propose that the application be approved with the relevant objections that must be addressed.
That's more or less what we said.
No.
No,
It's more or less what it said.
You're putting in to
Can we-
refuse the application. That's what I heard.
Sorry, can we just be
In
clear?
its present form.
Can you come through the chair, please? I've made a proposal which has
I
been
was speaking.
seconded.
I was speaking
Are
to
you
the
making a
chair.
counter proposal, Councillor
Yes.
Heron?
Yes.
Can I have do you have anyone seconding Councillor Heron's counter proposal? I'll take that as a no. So do we need to vote on that, Town Clerk, or is that carried?
If you just want to
Show of
go through
hands.
just for formality, yeah, I'll go around the screen in favour of your proposal. Again, I'm just going to go around as everybody appears on my screen. So, Councillor Rome. Yeah.
Yes, I propose it, yeah.
Councillor Hopper.
In favour.
Councillor Waterston. Sorry, I can't hear you.
In favour.
Thanks. Councillor Geddes.
yeah, in favour.
Councillor Heron.
Against.
And
This is
Councillor
shocking.
Defty.
In favour?
Okay, that's carried.
Thank you. Next one on the agenda of this planning committee meeting is the former Old Track Waste Recycling Centre and the former Chorus Engineering Steels Limited site at Hetton Lines Industrial Estate. I believe they are numbers 6 and 7. And that is the proposal of an erection of a pallet production building with attached pallet store to include demolition of existing building, erection of new boiler house with attached fuel store and installation of new kilns. I think most of us, or a lot of us who have been involved with the council for the last 10 years will be very familiar with this site. And if I can just find my notes, oh yeah, here it is. Shall I just give a brief outline and then we open the floor to discussion?
Yeah.
Everybody happy with that? As most of you will know, these two sites back onto the the local wildlife site, the green flag local wildlife site of Hetton Lines Country Park. It's got the bridleway directly behind, and it is shown in as open space as part of the wildlife network in the draft allocation and designations plans, which is just going through Sunderland City Council now. We all know we've got football pitches with changing rooms, dedicated cycle tracks, horse cross-country courses, orienteering courses, open-air gym trail, children's play area, separate sports, fishing and wildfowl lakes. Wildflower meadows, woodlands, water features. It's a fabulous place to be. And there are protected species such as water voles and bats. They're also found in the area. Now, Eppleton Grasslands, which is, I think, about 500 metres east of the site, is a triple SI site. And although there's no housing directly next to Hetton Lines Industrial Estate, there's quite a lot of housing within a relatively short distance to the west, the south and the southeast, and of course the Showman's Guild site, which is literally starts across that first entrance of Colliery Lane to Hetton Lines Industrial Estate. Now, on the planning portal, Sunderland City Council's environmental health responses to Sunderland City Council's planning department, there are two responses, one of the 13th and one of the 22nd of February, and they support their requirement for much more substantial detailed information for both sites to support an application of this magnitude, because the potential impact of noise, dust, excessive transport, air quality on local residents and local employees, and the wildlife and ecology. Now, I hope we all, I don't know if everyone's had the opportunity to look at the correspondence on there, but there's a substantial objection to this proposal in its current form from the Campaign to Protect Rural England, and also another one from the Friends of Hetton Lines Country Park. There are so many reports that are, in my opinion, should be submitted, whether it's noise, pollution, traffic. It's just not come forth despite it having been requested. And well, I feel that we should object to this unless they can come up with lots of other reports to support it on the grounds of, again, highway and pedestrian safety. We know what it's like, that first road up from Colliery Lane to try and access the country. I myself have had to walk in the middle of the road with a pushchair because there's no room on the pavement for all the lorries parked there. And of course, we have no idea what size this stack is going to be from the biomass. We don't know where they're going to store materials, what sort of chemicals. There is potential adverse effect on people and the wildlife and the flora and the fauna. And we have to bear in mind that there is a smaller biomass operation at Decor Panel, and that one actually got in through a retrospective planning application. I don't think anybody realised the implication of that. And then there's noise and vibration, and of course a potential discharge of contaminated water into the watercourse in the country park. So that's my thoughts on that. And I think there's a few comments coming in. I think it's our councillor Dodds, as a member of the public, has said the Friends group have more questions from the further info which has been included regarding emissions and noise. I haven't seen that. I did look at that today. I haven't seen that, but there are lots of information that's been requested by the council for this. It hasn't been forthcoming, and I'd like to propose that we object to this planning application in its current format on those 4 grounds which I have listed, which is highway and pedestrian safety, air quality, noise and vibration, and potential discharge of contaminated water into the watercourse in the country park.
Yeah, second that.
Anyone else have any comments? Councillor Heron? I can't hear you, Councillor Heron. You're still on mute. Now you're in the dark. No, I still can't hear you. You're in the light, but I can't hear you. Sorry, Councillor Heron. Yes, now I can hear you.
Right. I would like to declare a non-financial interest as chairman of Hetton Lions Country Park Friends, and I would put the same objections in, but with a lot less of the tactile speeches that's going on. The reasons just need to go in on their own merits, and like I say, my objections has already been lodged as chairman of the Friends Group.
Right, thank you. Now, I do note that Councillor Dodds, as a member of the public, wants to speak about noise and vibration, but we're not having members of the public come in at this point. We had that at the beginning of and bearing in mind that the noise and vibration information has been requested by Sunderland City Council. I think if it's okay, I'll be quite happy to go straight forward for, I think my proposal was seconded. I'd like to go straight through for a vote.
Could I just ask you, Chair, before we start the vote?
Yes.
Is this going to be for all planning meetings that members of the public can't come in when our application is being done?
No, Councillor Heron, it's normal at the beginning of the meeting when we have public participation, we either make a decision at the point for questions to be asked in advance, or we make a decision that later on we will we'll suspend standing orders during the course of the meeting. I think I made it quite clear, perhaps Town Clerk will confirm, that I said we weren't going to suspend standing orders. We were just going to have any questions for 15 minutes in advance of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Chairman, there was a proposal with a seconder there. You want me to go around the members again?
Sorry, I can't remember who seconded it now. Oh,
Councillor Hopper.
all right, okay, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Rome. Yeah.
Yes, I object as
Councillor
my.
Waterston. Sorry, I didn't get that.
You're on mute, Councillor Waterson.
Yes.
Councillor Heron.
Yeah.
Thanks. Councillor Hopper.
Yep. In favour.
Councillor Geddes.
Yes.
Councillor Defty.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for that. Unanimous.
Is that okay, Town Clerk?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one. The last one is 71 Kingfisher Drive. Members might recall that I pointed out at the last meeting that the application form for this said there was going to be a loss of 2 parking spaces and I needed more information. So we have contacted the Town Clerk and I contacted the Planning Department. I noted there was another document on the portal, and the Transportation Development has made some comments, and I have been contacted by the Planning Department, and they are just going to go out and have a quick look. And I just suggest that we can't make a decision tonight. We'll just leave it up to the Planning Department to handle this as they see fit, because I can't see us having any objections to this if the Planning Department don't have on the number of parking spaces provided. So we just basically have to roll it over, and we'll hear something between now and the next ordinary council meeting, if all members are happy with that.
Chairman, is that defer to full council pending a response from Sunderland City Council?
Yeah, thank you for wording it so eloquently, Town Clerk.
Very tactile with his words, isn't he? I like that word, tactile. I'm going to add that to my vocabulary. Thank you, Councillor Aaron.
It
Well,
does mean
Tactile.
touchy-feely, you know, Councillor Hopper.
Well, that's
Tactile.
Is it?
I thought-
Councillor
Has to be
Aaron was
used-
very tactile.
I thought it was something to do with roofing, tactile.
So, is that it then?
Yes, Chairman, that concludes business. And the recommendation of this committee will go to full council on the 15th. I mean, just in terms of the timescales for both the primary school and all track, I was able to secure through Sunderland City Council of an extension to Friday the 19th. So the timescale works for us now.
Thank you, that's good.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and if you need any more information tomorrow on those proposals, I can let you have that in writing, Mr.
Yes,
Keeley.
that'd be helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
okay.
much. Thank you for attending, everyone. Thank you, members of the public, for coming.
Yeah, we'll end the recording now. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye, everyone. Good night.